Those damn Japanese. I remember being a kid and seeing all the coolest stuff come out in Japan first, and the rage slowly building in me as I tinkered away in my garage on my own Manhattan project. Just as I was about to show my science project to the great glorious Nippon Empire, I was told that Japanese releases for most things would now start coinciding with when the rest of the world would get them. Finally, no more watching as people cooler and richer than me online imported games to get them first and post screenshots of them on forums. So I hung up my genocide coat in exchange for an oversized t-shirt and jersey shorts and thought the war had ended before it had even began. But what's this? BNA? A new Trigger anime? And the first 6 episodes are on Netflix, you say? Oh, I have to set my VPN to Japan to access them. And they don't even have subtitles. Just when I thought I could trust my Eastern brothers, they tie me up, stuff a rice cake in my mouth, and feed me to the ogres. A tragedy. But luckily, the first 6 episodes that premiered on Japanese Netflix are still not out of reach if you know the right hat to wear and ship to sale. Now, stop me if you've heard this one before. A young, athletic girl dressed in red discovers she has plot powers that allow her to defeat enemies that would normally be several times stronger than her, and is on a mission to find out something about herself. And the answers lie, of course, in an unfamiliar place full of strange customs and powerful people. She meets a slightly older male character dressed in white who also has strange powers that give him plot armor. There's also a weird and strangely drawn younger girl who looks up to the female character. And a rival character that's dressed in white that is the head of an organization or cult. Sound familiar? It should. That's because you're watching an anime by the studio Trigger. While Trigger does lean on some similar tropes throughout most of what they produce, it never really distracts too much from the fluid animation, vibrant art style, and energetic but not really annoying music, which all come together to usually create a fun roller coaster type anime that will make you feel like you're back in your high school anime club. Pacing. Like most Trigger anime and a good portion of anime in general, BNA suffers from a lot of pacing issues that make the pace about as predictable as a swarm of angry wasps. Some episodes will drag on a baseball game for the entirety of the episode, not really moving the interesting parts of the show forward at all, while some episodes will have an entire infiltration of a highly secure mega corporation happen, only to immediately turn to the main character being caught infiltrating, cornered by bad guys, and ultimately rescued by her withdrawn but soft-hearted slightly older male companion, who might actually be a furry god, all in the matter of just 2 or 3 minutes. I like to call stories with this type of pacing roller coaster stories, in which the valleys and troughs of the story vary wildly, and by the end you're usually either losing your lunch or wanting to go again. Lore. There's lots of mystery here, as well as some pretty good, if simple, world building. Also another Trigger hallmark. You're introduced to a world where humans are not too thrilled about coexisting with IRL furries. And really, who would be? You do get thrown right in, but everything unfolds in a way that's easy to follow and understand, even during the valley parts of the ride, where everything is moving like a fucking F-Zero race. The main character, Michiru, a tanuki girl I didn't know I needed in my life until now, is actually a human girl who was somehow turned into a beastman. She is on her way to a city run by and full of beastmen to try and figure out how she was transformed and find a way to transform her back. Even though later, spoilers, she finds a way to just transform back to a human form at will. Upon finding people in the city that want to help her, she takes part in their own investigations that she's told have to do with her own condition, in hopes that it will lead somehow to some fucking answers about why she is suddenly furry, and why she can stretch and skew her bodies in ways that give her really cool abilities like cheetah legs. Huge arms that can destroy concrete walls, but for some reason, at least in the beginning, can't turn back human. Personally, I'd keep all the superpowers and then just transform back into my human form and live life that way, but that's not good enough for our little protagonist. It's teased through most of the episodes that the answers may lie with some pretty high up the chain companies and organizations, and that Michiru starts to understand the plight of the disgusting furries from their point of views on weird pornography, terrorism, and child slavery the more time she spends around them. Characters. Each character is unique in both their appearance and personality, and they each have a distinct part to play in whatever plot is unfolding. The mysterious wolf guy comes off as cool, even when his plot armor makes him bulletproof. and Michiru comes off as a naive and slightly self-centered young girl who likes to play on her phone and shoot hoops. Even during the first 6 episodes, you will see characters discover things about themselves that are painful to face, and be forced to decide to change or ignore them as a result, which makes them feel more three-dimensional and real. Visuals. Colorful, fluid, unique visuals with well-animated and dynamic-looking action are staples of a Trigger anime, and BNA does not disappoint. In fact, I would argue that BNA is probably the best-looking Trigger anime I've ever seen. Even in shows they've produced that have been all about magic, none that I've seen so far have surpassed the level of vibrant and well-chosen colors and surgically perfect minimalist rendering I've seen in BNA. Just look at those eyes. If that doesn't draw you in, what will? The action scenes are fluid, and they certainly aren't shy about peppering them in. There's almost no noticeable corner cutting or nits to pick about the animation or visual effects. If you have brain boo-boos and somehow end up watching Kill la Kill all the way through, or if you just thought the action scenes in Kill la Kill were well done, then you'll probably be impressed with BNA, if not just right at home. Sound quality. You rarely notice anything about sound when it's done well, but if you're listening to bad sound engineering or sound design, you know immediately. Voice acting, as best as I can tell, as well as the sound effects in BNA feel exactly like it seems the creators intended. What sticks out to me most, however, in a good way, is the music. From Op to Ed, BNA never disappointed or annoyed me. They even managed to make scratch table openings for some of the background songs that aren't completely lame. I don't know which one of Joe Rogan's fourth dimensional god pals they invoked to manage that, but I'd like its number. If you don't feel like going through the trouble of using your VPN, or if you're one of the daredevils that still uses voice chats without one, you can find the opening and ending songs on YouTube. And if you click the links in the descriptions, you'll hear them without having to support Crunchyroll in any way. They're really, really good. I can't remember an anime since Konosuba that had music in it that would run through my head long after I finished watching it, and somehow never managed to get annoying, at least not to me. Anyway, I highly advise that you give these songs a listen right after you're done with this video. If you don't let some very minor furry aesthetics scare you away, BNA is a really fucking amazing anime. It's easily hooked me in ways that not even other good stuff like the recent ReZero director's cuts have, and I am waiting on bated breath for more. And not just because I'm constantly refreshing the Michiru tag on everyone's favorite websites. April 8th has never seemed farther away. Find it, watch it, develop a newfound love for Tanuki girls. Thank me later. And now it's time for a small update on hazencruz. I've been surviving the deadly pestilence that is sweeping the globe just fine, though I have had to start using my shower wand due to the boomer panic about everyone running out of toilet paper. Even though about 90% of the toilet paper that's used in the United States is made in North America. It could be worse, however. At least we're all getting our sweet, sweet Trump bucks. Oh, and I'm also going to start doing 2 sets of reviews for seasonal anime that's coming out or just finishing up. So what you'll see in the future will go something like this. A preview of the first handful of episodes of an anime, or just the first, as I have time to watch them, ponder, and record audio. These will be short-form videos, possibly just commentary over gameplay, followed by a review of the anime's first season as it finishes. These will be the long-form videos you've grown used to seeing from me, though I will be trying my best to limit them to 20 minutes or less. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please fax them over to whatever the equivalent of the Nigerian White House is. I'm confident they'll arrive in the right hands, eventually. As always, a huge thank you to those tithing at the Temple of the Sun. Your gracious donations against your own financial gain enable me to keep churning out these awful videos. A wise investment indeed. Even though I haven't been so great about keeping to my schedule lately, you are all the wind beneath my wings. Never forget it.